Welcome back to Old Charles, your channel for rare coins, history, and collector's treasure hunts. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the 1965 United States 1 dime coin. This isn't just any ordinary dime. This coin marked a historic turning point in American coinage. So, if you've got one of these in your pocket or collection, stick around, because its story, value, and history may surprise you. The 1965 dime holds a special place in U.S. history. Up until 1964, dimes were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But in 1965, due to rising silver prices and a national coin shortage, the U.S. Mint made a historic decision. They stopped producing circulating silver dimes. Instead, the dime was switched to a clad composition, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. This change marked the beginning of the modern clad coinage era, which we still use today. The 1965 dime features the familiar portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinnock, which first appeared in 1946 to honor Roosevelt's fight against polio and his role in establishing the March of Dimes. On the reverse, you'll see a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, with an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. 1. First clad dime. It was the very first year the U.S. Mint stopped using silver for dimes in circulation. 2. Mint mark change. In 1965, the Mint also stopped putting mint marks on coins to discourage hoarding. That means all 1965 dimes were struck in Philadelphia, but they don't have the P mint mark. 3. Transition errors. Because of the switch from silver to clad, there are rare error coins where some 1965 dimes were accidentally struck on leftover 1964 silver planchets. These are extremely rare and valuable. Now let's talk about the part everyone's curious about: the value. These are very common. In circulated condition, they're worth only their face value, 10 cents. Even in uncirculated condition, most are valued between $1 and $3. Collectors do pay a premium for high-grade examples. Brilliant uncirculated 1965 dimes graded MS65 or higher can be worth $10 to $50, while MS67 examples can reach $200 or more. Here's where it gets exciting. Some 1965 dimes were mistakenly struck on leftover 90% silver planchets from 1964. These transitional error dimes are incredibly rare and can sell for thousands of dollars at auction. For example, one sold for over $9,000 in top condition. So if you suspect your 1965 dime is silver, it's worth testing. Silver coins weigh 2.5 grams, while clad ones weigh 2.27 grams. While most 1965 dimes are common pocket change, the rare errors make this year one to always check closely. When it comes to value, condition is everything. Collectors grade coins from good, heavily worn, to mint state, perfect, uncirculated condition. A good condition 1965 dime will be very worn and only worth face value. An extremely fine coin shows most details but still has slight wear, worth maybe 25 to 50 cents. That looks brand new, straight from the mint, is worth more, usually in the $1 to $5 range. Graded by NGC or PCGS in MS66 or higher can be worth hundreds. If you're collecting, always check for sharp details, no scratches, and strong luster. And remember, error coins like double strikes, off-center strikes, and especially silver planchet errors are the true treasures of the 1965 dime series. So there you have it, the story of the 1965 Roosevelt dime, a small coin that marked a huge change in U.S. coinage history. Most of them may only be worth a dime, but rare errors can be worth thousands. The year 1965 is one of the most important turning points in American coinage history, especially for the dime. To understand why, we need to look back at what was happening in the United States during the early 1960s. 4 decades, dimes, quarters, and half dollars were made of 90% silver. This tradition dated all the way back to the late 18th century, when the U.S. Mint was founded in 1792. Silver coins were trusted by the public because they contained real precious metal, and the intrinsic value gave people confidence in the currency. But by the early 1960s, things began to change. The price of silver started rising rapidly on the world market. As silver became more expensive, the metal inside the coins was becoming worth more than the face value of the coins themselves. For example, a dime that was supposed to be worth 10 cents in circulation contained silver that was getting close to being worth 10 cents or even more. This created a huge problem for the U.S. Treasury and the U.S. Mint. What happened next was something every collector and historian finds fascinating. people began hoarding coins. Citizens, banks, and businesses noticed that silver coins were disappearing from circulation. Instead of spending them, people kept them, melted them down for silver, or saved them as investments. By 1964, the United States was experiencing a full-blown coin shortage. Vending machines, stores, and even the post office struggled to keep enough coins in circulation for daily transactions. President Lyndon B. Johnson and Congress had to act quickly. They passed the Coinage Act of 1965, a landmark law that forever changed American coins. Under this act, the dime and quarter were changed from 90% silver to a copper-nickel-clad composition. The half-dollar was reduced from 90% silver to 40% silver. Mint marks were removed temporarily to discourage hoarding and collecting. This was the birth of what we now call clad coinage, a sandwich of metals. The new dime introduced in 1965 had an inner core of pure copper, with an outer layer made of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This gave the coin a silvery appearance, but without any precious metal content. The public reaction was mixed. Some people were disappointed, believing that without silver, coins would lose their value. Others felt relieved because the new system kept coins available in circulation. President Johnson himself reassured Americans, famously stating that there was no need to hoard old silver coins, as they would remain legal tender. Still, many people ignored that advice and saved silver coins anyway, which is why pre-1965 dimes are still treasured today. The 1965 dime also continued the legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse. Roosevelt had been placed on the dime in 1946, just 1 year after his death, as a tribute to his leadership and his role in founding the March of Dimes, which helped fund research to cure polio. The design, created by John R. Sinnock, remained unchanged in 1965. The difference was entirely in the metal. Another fascinating part of the history is the transitional period between 1964 and 1965. Because the mint was rushing to meet demand, some older silver planchets, coin blanks, were accidentally mixed in with the new copper-nickel blanks. As a result, a tiny number of 1,965 dimes were struck in 90% silver instead of clad metal. These accidental strikes are extremely rare today and considered some of the most valuable error coins of the 20th century. From that year forward, all circulating dimes in the United States would be clad, and the 1965 issue marked the official end of silver dimes in circulation. The decision helped stabilize the coin shortage, and by 1966, coins were once again flowing more freely in the economy. So, the 1965 dime doesn't just represent a single coin, it represents a historic shift in America's monetary system. It is the first of a new generation of modern coins, coins made not of precious metals but of durable alloys designed to withstand circulation and keep costs low for the government. When it comes to coin collecting, one of the most important factors that determines a coin's value is its condition. In the world of numismatics, this is called coin grading. Grading is essentially the process of carefully evaluating how much wear, damage, or preservation a coin has experienced since it was struck at the mint. For the 1965 Roosevelt dime, condition matters greatly because the coin itself is very common. Millions upon millions of these were minted, so almost all circulated examples are only worth face value, 10 cents. But when a coin is found in exceptional condition, collectors are willing to pay a premium. Let's break down the grading process step by step, so you'll know what makes a 1965 dime ordinary pocket change and what makes it collectible. When a coin has been used in everyday transactions, carried in pockets, passed through vending machines, and handled by countless hands, it's considered circulated. These coins usually show wear, scratches, and loss of detail. In this grade, the coin is very worn. Roosevelt's portrait is still visible, but most of the fine details are gone. The lettering around the edges may be faint, and the reverse torch, olive branch, and oak branch will appear smooth. A 1965 dime in good condition has no added value. It's worth 10 cents. The details are a bit clearer, but still heavily worn. Roosevelt's outline is stronger, but hairlines and facial features are nearly flat. Value is still only face value at this stage. Moderate wear is visible, but the major details remain clear. The date and motto "In God We Trust" are sharp. On the reverse, the torch and branches are visible but lack crispness. Again, no added value, usually worth 10 cents. Moderate wear is present, but the design is stronger. Roosevelt's hair shows some lines, and the reverse symbols are distinct. Collectors may save these, but still very little premium over face value. Light wear on the highest points of the design. Most details of Roosevelt's hair and face are visible, and the reverse is sharper. At this stage, collectors might pay 25 to 50 cents when a coin has never been used in commerce and shows no signs of wear. It falls into the uncirculated or mint state category. These coins are far more desirable to collectors. Coins in this range have only the slightest touch of wear, often visible on Roosevelt's cheek or hairline. Still considered high grade, but not perfect. Value ranges from 50 cents to $1. These coins have never circulated and retain their full mint luster. The grading scale runs from MS-60, average uncirculated with marks or dullness, to MS-70, a perfect coin with no flaws. For the 1965 dime, MS-63 to MS-65 examples might sell for $2 to $10. MS-66 examples become much harder to find, with values jumping to $40, $100. MS-67 dimes are rare, often selling for $200, $400 or more depending on demand. Anything graded MS-68 or higher is extremely scarce and can reach several $100s, since so few exist in such pristine condition. Although no official proof sets were made in 1965, the U.S. Mint did produce special mint sets, SMS. These were created to replace proof and mint sets for collectors during the transition years, 1965 to 1967. SMS coins often have a sharper strike and a satin-like surface. Some 1965 SMS dimes show cameo contrasts, where the raised details appear frosty against a mirror-like background. These are highly collectible and can bring $50 to $200. Depending on quality point, one of the most exciting aspects of the 1965 dime is its error coins, especially the rare silver transitional errors. Condition is especially important for these because high-grade silver errors are extremely rare. A worn silver 1965 dime may still be worth hundreds of dollars. In mint state, these transitional silver errors can fetch thousands of dollars at auction, sometimes exceeding $9,000. Collectors always check condition carefully, because even small differences in grade can mean hundreds of dollars in price difference. When evaluating a 1965 dime, always look closely at its condition. Common circulated examples will almost always be worth just 10 cents. But uncirculated, high-grade, or SMS examples can carry premiums, and rare silver error strikes can be life-changing finds. Condition is the difference between pocket change and treasure. If you ever come across a 1965 dime with strong luster, minimal scratches, or that feels heavier like silver, it's worth having it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. That little dime could be hiding hundreds or even thousands of dollars in value.